Hello, grade 7. Welcome to our week 3 lesson in music. Our topic is about the classification of musical instruments in the lowlands of Luzon. A long time ago, the Spanish and Americans introduced musical instruments of the Western origin to the Filipinos and organized different groups here in the Philippines. Beside of these instruments, the Filipinos are resourceful on making their own instruments using materials found in the community. These instruments are usually played in different events in the Philippines such as fiestas, religious activities, and civic celebrations. Now, let us know the different brass band instruments. These are the instruments from the brass band musical ensemble that includes woodwind, brass wind, and percussion instruments. Let us know first the woodwinds. First one is a flute. It is a blown musical instrument that produces sounds from flow of air across an opening. Next is piccolo. It is a woodwind instrument that produces sounds thinner than a flute. Another examples of woodwinds are clarinet. Clarinet is a woodwind instrument that has a single reed mouthpiece, a straight cylindrical tube with cylindrical bore and a flared. Next is a saxophone. It is used in classical music concert bands, chamber music, and solo repertoire, military bands, marching bands, and jazz bands. Next, let's have the brass winds. Example of those are trombone or trombone. It is produced sounds when that player's vibrating lips cause the air column inside the instrument to vibrate. Next is the trumpet. It is played by blowing air through almost closed lips, producing a buzzing sounds. Other examples of brass winds are sousaphone. It is a type of tuba designed to be easier than the concert tuba to play while standing or marching. Next is French horn. It is a brass instrument made of tubing wrapped into a coil with flared bell. Let's have percussions. Examples of it are cymbals and snare drum. Cymbals consists of thin, normally round plates of various alloys. And snare drum is a percussion instrument known sharp staccato sound when the head of the skin is struck with a drumstick. And last example of percussion is the bass or bass drum. It is a large drum that produces a note of low definite or indefinite pitch. Now, let us know the different PANGKAT kawayan instruments. These are non-traditional bamboo instruments in various sizes, shapes, and designs. And PANGKAT kawayan is also known as the singing bamboos of the Philippines. Here are the instruments of PANGKAT kawayan. First one is angklung. It is a bamboo rattle tubes which is attached to a frame. Kalatok. We also call it as a bamboo knocker. It is a percussion instrument which is made of pieces of bamboos that are struck together. Next, the talung gating or also called as bamboo marimba. It is made from bamboo that follows the musical scale and style of typical xylophone. Next is kalagong. It is a wind instrument that produces a hollow gong-like sound. Next is angklung. An angklung is also called as tulali. It is a bamboo flute made of baga, which is one of the smallest bamboo varieties. And last, the panpipes. It is a small piece of bamboo in graduated small tubes produces sounds by blowing it. Now, do you know that we can classify an instrument according to its characteristics and how you play it? Yes, so let us know the different classification of musical instruments. First one is an aerophone. An aerophone produce sounds primarily by causing a body of air to vibrate. So example of it are the flutes, trumpets. Next is chordophone. A chordophone produces sounds through its vibrating strings. So if an instrument has a strings, meaning it is classified as chordophone. Examples are guitar or violins. Next, idiophones. It produces sounds primarily by the vibration of the instrument itself. So for example are the drums. Next, the membranophone. A membranophone is produced sounds primarily by way of a vibrating stretch membrane. So if an instrument is covered with an animal skin, then we can say that it is a membranophone. Next is the electrophone. Electrophone produce sounds which are generated by electricity. Examples are the bass guitar or the piano or organs. Alright, so let us know the learning tasks in music. Activity 1 is entitled as groupie. In here, you are going to group the different instruments which is mentioned above according to the Hornbostel-Sachs classification of musical instruments. Let's say for example, the flute. What classification of instrument do you think it is? Is it on aerophone, chordophone, idiophone, or membranophone? If you think it is under an aerophone, then write flute on this column. Next, activity 2, entitled on the right group. In here, you are going to search the following musical group instruments: the combo music, band, drum and lyre, and orchestra. And then after knowing the instruments under this group of instruments, then you are going to classify the different musical instruments. For example, in drum and lyre, we all know that in here, it has instruments of drum and lyre. Do you think the drum, what classification of instrument is it? Is it under the aerophone, chordophone, idiophone, membranophone, or electrophone? If it is under the idiophone, and then write drum on this section. What about the lyre? Is it airphone, chordophone, membranophone, electrophone, or idiophone? If you think it is under the idiophone, then write lyre on this section again. So, that's it for this day. Thank you and for listening.